So when it comes down to parking at Disneyland, it can get a bit overwhelming, but don't worry, we're gonna go ahead and teach you all the tips and tricks so that you are ready for your next Disneyland trip. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So we are here with our new setup and it's super exciting, but I don't want to get too caught up in that. I want to make sure that we are here to help you with all the tips and tricks you need to know for parking at Disneyland. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So first things first, let's talk about the parking hours. The parking will start opening at 7 a.m., which is 1 hour before the earliest park being Disneyland at 8 a.m. So the actual park hours, Disneyland is from 8 a.m. to midnight. California Adventure is from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Now just keep in mind that sometimes Disneyland does have some holiday season or off-season hours, so make sure that you look into that information when you're scheduling your trip so that you don't run into any issues when it comes down to the parking structure or just getting to the park altogether. So the main parking lot options that you have is going to be Mickey and Friends, which is off of Disneyland Drive and Ball Road. You also have Pixar Pals Parking Structure, which is off of Disneyland Drive and West Magic Way. And you also have the Toy Story parking lot. That one's going to be off of Catella and Clementine Road. It's right across from the Anaheim Garden Walk. So the question that a lot of first timers at the Disneyland Resort have is how much is the parking at the parking structure? So for one vehicle, it is $30 to enter the parking structure. They do have an option for preferred parking, which is a $50 fee. And with that preferred option, they will go ahead and put a little slip on your window, on your windshield, I should say, and they will go ahead and guide you all the way up to the front closest to the elevators or stairs. That way you can get to the Disney Magic a little bit faster, which is an option to have. It's not everybody's choice, but it is an option if that's what suits you. So to park at the Disneyland structure, you can pay with cash, card. You can also use a Disney gift card, and something that I don't know if I'm old enough to even know about is Disney dollars. That is something that's listed on their website. If you're familiar with Disney dollars, please let me know down below so I can inform myself a little bit more on that. Another way to enter the park if you're not paying with cash or card would be with your Magic Key. So let's jump into the Magic Key information. Depending on the Magic Key that you have, there are some options with free parking included into your pass, or there are some discounted options. Again, it just depends on where you're ranked with your Magic Keys. If you guys have any questions or need some more information on what follows under what slot, there is a link up above to our Magic Key video that you can go ahead and watch. Now here comes the fun. We're gonna go ahead and talk about parking from start to finish. So when you start to pull into the structure, you're gonna go ahead and pick your lane. You'll just follow the flow of traffic and you'll meet with your cast member. That is where you would do your form of payment or scan in your key. Once you finish with that step, you're gonna go ahead and they'll funnel you into 2 rows. You'll continue to follow the cast member and the cones into your designated aisle or row, ramp. We're gonna go with ramp. And there's also a plaque, if you pay attention on the left hand side, that will tell you which floor levels you're going to. The one that we occasionally get a lot is Goofy and Mickey. So you'll go ahead and go up the ramp, follow the flow of traffic, don't cut anybody off because you're gonna end up being parked next to them. So you don't wanna look like that guy. So once you pull into your floor level, you'll continue to follow the cones. Depending on how early you get there, sometimes they will direct you through Mickey and Friends and then you'll go onto a bridge into the Pixar lot. And again, you just follow the cast members. They're guiding you the whole way up until your exact parking spot. They even tell you how close you are to the line, so make sure you're paying attention and that you're staying in your lane. Once you finally park your car, make sure you take a picture of where you're at, meaning that there is some poles and it has your character, the color, and the number row that you're on. So it will say Mickey 1A. There's also a feature that you can use on your Disneyland app called the car locator, and most of the time it automatically knows what level you're on. You just have to include what row and what number you are, which is really nice feature. So make sure you add that, because the worst thing that can happen is there's a whole day of fun happening at the parks and you get back at the midnight and you're like, where's my car? You don't even know which floor you're on. It's one of the worst things that can happen. It's happened to us at least once or twice. So make sure you locate your car. If for whatever reason you cannot find your car, you just can't remember what lot you're on, there are assistant buttons that you can click. We haven't had to use that, but I'm sure that the security would be more than helpful to help locate your car. They're just really great. They want to make sure everybody gets home safely. So go ahead and look for those assistant lights. They're up at the top, and they're pretty much located throughout all the parking sections so that you can access one pretty quickly. So once you're fully officially parked, make sure you just stay in your car for just a few minutes, because there's other guests that are still being pulled in. You don't want to open your car as somebody's pulling in and ruin the fun and magic for you. So just take a minute, gather your thoughts, play one more song in your car, get your heart ready for Disneyland. And then once everybody has evacuated out of their cars, it's when you can safely get out of yours and get the little ones all situated without being in such a rush or hassle. One thing to keep in mind, if you are coming a little bit later in the day, you do not have the cast members guide. Did I say cast members? What did I say? So keep in mind, if you are coming a little bit later in the day, some of the cast members won't be there guiding you into your parking spot. It's kind of just a free-for-all, whatever you see you get. Now you're on your own time trying to find your row and paying attention to the light system. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the light system to make it a little bit easier for you guys. First thing in the morning when you're following all the cast members, it's nothing but green light central in the parking structure. It's actually really cool. So once you go ahead and park, the light will then transition to a red color. There are times in the afternoon when we have gone that there is a smaller car that's not hitting the sensor correctly, and it could be one big car and a small car, and again, we're all thinking, oh great, we're getting a front row parking, and it's actually taken. So just kind of know you're taking a 50-50 chance if you're trying to get an up close parking that there might already be a car there. So just keep that in mind so that you're not getting false hope. So another thing is that the aisles are actually a one-way direction. So if you pull all the way to the front and there's a small car there, you're gonna have to go ahead and take a lap back through the structure to go ahead and go into another row. So again, it's just one of those things, if you're willing to risk it, that's what's gonna happen. Now, red lights means obviously that the spot is taken. I think there are sometimes, again, like the green light, where there is a false reading or there's a bigger car and sometimes your car can fit behind that one. But I feel if it's red, it's indicated that maybe you shouldn't be parking there, or there's allotted spaces that have the red light for, I guess, safety reasons. So some people will try to make this small little wedge that looks like it could be like a motorcycle parking into their own parking, but I don't advise that. Just follow the light system and everybody gets to have their fun. And lastly, there's actually a blue light. So the blue lights are indicated for the handicap parkings. So they usually have those right up in the front, so whatever mechanical assistance they have, whether that be an electric wheelchair or a manual wheelchair, that it's easier for the guests to go ahead and get to the elevator. So just keep that in mind. So if you can't find a blue light spot and there's still a cast member around, let them know. You'll have to show them your valid handicap plaque or license plate, and they'll go ahead and try to assign you to a parking space that's an easy access, that's not too far off in the back or middle of the structure. So as far as the wheelchair rentals go, that's not gonna actually happen right in the parking structure check-in. That actually happens once you get onto the Disneyland property resort. As well, keep in mind, guests that take in wagon strollers for their little ones, those are not permitted on property unless you have certain clearance. We have a video linked up above where you can find that information. We just always see every time we're pulling in from the elevators that there's guests with wagons. The security stops them and then they have to go run it back to the car. That's the last thing you want to happen. So next we're going to talk about the electric vehicles. All you Tesla, Lucid, I don't know what other type of electric cars, I just know the big ones, but there are some electric vehicle charging stations. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. Where I've mainly seen it is in the cars lot. I'm sure they have it throughout other structures, but just make sure when you pull into the toll, as you're taking care of your payment, you go ahead and relate that information to the cast member that you're looking into the charging as well. That way they can direct you into the correct lot and where you need to go to set up. So you will have to provide information showing that you have set up and activated your charging point card. Again, just make sure you discuss that at the Disneyland Resort with the cast member as soon as you're pulling in, so that they Okay, so my little assistant woke up here, so we're gonna try to go ahead and navigate through the rest of the video here. So the last she's just waving at the camera. So when the trams are looking a little too crazy when you're coming down the elevators, sometimes Henry and I will transition back into the level 2 floor, and we end up taking the walkway that leads you into downtown Disney. So one thing that I want to cover before we finish off this video is that there's actually a color system to the parking structure. Something that's really helpful to keep in mind if you're parked at either Pixar or the Disneyland side, when you're walking back from the bridge, if you're not in the Pixar building and you just completely forgot what floor you were on, just know that if you're on level 4, which I think is like the monsters, it's a green color, and that actually correlates to the other side at Mickey and Friends. Goofy would be green. So again, Mickey would be red and Cars would be red. Those are your same level floors. So I think Cars. So I think it's really great that Disney did the color system. There are the numbers and characters that are another option to keep in mind. That way it's something that anybody can localize so that they can find their vehicle. All right, lastly, we're going to be talking about the elevators and escalators. When you pull into your parking spot, they're going to be located at the end of the road. Typically, the color that we were talking about will be all in tiles. So again, if Goofy is green, you'll see the green tiles and the green pillars, and you'll follow those and it'll take you to where the escalators and elevators are at. Keep in mind that the elevators are for guests with strollers or with a wheelchair. It's supposed to be that way so that it could keep the flow of traffic going and so that it's very smoothly. Hi guys. It's meant so that it could keep traffic going smoothly, and that way there's not just a hurdle of people that are bunched up at the elevators when they can easily go use the escalators, to make it fair for the other guests. So please keep that in mind when you go on your next trip. So once you finally come down from the elevator or escalator, you're going to be greeted by either a big Mickey or the Pixar ball, depending on which side that you're on. It's a great place. Yeah, baby.
Mommy.
Yeah. And that'll also transition you into the screening process through security. So make sure you check out the website to see what items are available or acceptable to bring into the park. The last thing you want to do is have to run something back up to your vehicle after everything we just talked about. So keep that in mind for your upcoming trip. Once you have done all of the steps that we just talked about, once you've gotten out of the parking structure, you finally go through the security screening, it's time to enjoy your fun. So let us know down below in the comments if any of these tips were helpful for you, or again, if you have any tips you can recommend to us. We greatly appreciate any new information. We're always looking to learn. So with all that being said, if you guys did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Tap the notification bell so you can get notified when we do drop a video. And like we always say, may you always have a magical adventure. Bye!